Hey everybody, welcome back to the warbossfitz channel. Today we are down here at the painting desk because the weather outside is just too ridiculous for us to be out in the garage playing a game. We almost both had heat stroke last time we were out there. So I made a decision, we're not going to be doing any more games until the weather gets less Satan-y outside. So what we're going to do today is work on some terrain. And you guys know that I am a cheap old man, so I went onto the internet to find some stuff that I thought would be cool and wouldn't break the bank. So I got myself some TT Combat MDF terrain here. This is the observation facility. So I got this off of Amazon. This was, I think, like $40, and we're gonna break this down, put it together, and see what this is going to come out as. Maybe make a table out of it. So yeah. And while we do that, in the background, for me, for not you guys, but I am going to be listening to some Don't Think Just Charge. They just put out their new video, so thanks guys. I'm going to be listening to this, and if you guys want to check out the channel, there it is. They do some good stuff. Alright, so I'm going to turn this on, we're going to crack into this, and we'll show you the parts. So here we have a stack of MDF, and there's no instruction paperwork hiding in between. So I'm going to have some fun cracking these out, referencing the pictures, and yeah, I'm going to go ahead and snap these all out and see if I can put it together. So that took quite a while. It took like 4 hours. I had to go to their website to find the instructions. But what we have here is, well, we have four little side pieces for the walls. We have a sensor tower thing. We have a satellite dish complete with spinning piece. We've got two of these bunkers here that look pretty cool, and then we've got the big bunker down here. We have this one, which is quite large. I'm actually very impressed with the amount of size that all this stuff is. So we're going to take it out in the garage. We're going to give this thing a primer coat and be back inside, start slinging some paint. Be right back. All right, everything has been shot with gray primer. This one got a little bit of khaki color on it, and we're going to let this set for, well, we're going to let this set for a few hours before we get into it, and then we're going to have some fun with oil paints. All right, we got a little bit of a different angle here, so what we're going to start off with some dry brushing before we get to the oil paints. The oil paints are going to be like the weathering process. So I got some pewter gray and I got some white. The pewter gray pretty much matches the gray I have in there now, so I'm going to add in a touch of white, and then we are going to go through and dry brush stuff. I don't have enough room up here for all of it, so it's going to be coming up and off in batches. So let's get to it. Yeah, we're going to start like just the top half of each of these sections is what we're going to dry brush. Well, more like the top 3/4. All right, we got some good color variation in there, so let's go ahead and speed through the rest of it. Okay, so here we are. Everything has its first dry brush of just extra gray over top of it. Now we are gonna go, we are gonna do some of the metallics on here because there's just gonna be some spots that are just really metallic, and for that, since we're just doing terrain, we are just going to use some just cheapo acrylic silver. And we are going to get ourselves a smaller brush, and then for this as well, we are going to kind of we're going to scrub this in. I wouldn't really call this dry brushing. This is kind of like you just get in there and you give her a scrub. So what that's going to do is it's going to give us a metallic base layer to where we're going to do some washes and some other things too. But that's going to be where we start. Okay, now we are at the fun part. Now we have our oil wash that I've made up, and it is a combination between some burnt umber and a little bit of lamp black in there. So this is going to be our weathering for our concrete structures here. We're going to use a little brush, and we're going to get in there and just do the cracks. Well, anywhere where water would pool, really. So let's go ahead and start off here. Now this is a very like watery slurry compared to what we normally use whenever we do minis, but as you can see, we're just going to be going around the edges anywhere where water would pool up. So here, we're going to give this nice little grim dark effect, but don't worry, we're going to do more after this. Now, our next step is we are going to use some burnt umber and we're going to use a sponge. And we're going to start stippling in some of the rust-ish stuff on the metallic things. And now these sponges, like you can go buy sponges for this, or I have an old couch cushion that I ripped up maybe 5 years ago, and I'm not even a quarter of the way through. But you just grab your brush, or your sponge, and you just start bloop, 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 bloop. You just find spots that you want to have your rust effect started. And we just start giving her some dabs. Now here's our next step. We're going to go over all that again with some dark rust. Now, we're going to use a brush. This is kind of a stippling, just beat up old brush. All right, now we're going to move on to a little bit of fresh brush. This is just going to be a dry brush over the top of the stuff we just put on there. And it's going to be real sparing. All right, one of our last steps here, we have some green Viridian oil paint that we are going to mix up. Well, we've already mixed up. And then we're going to go in and do a little bit of vegetation around the bottom and in the deeper cracks of these. So this is going to be the next, like the last color that our concrete gets. So we're going to do it like in these corners. Ooh, I don't know about that. Okay, I don't know about that. Okay, we're gonna do this very sparingly. All right, I'm gonna play around with this. And we're gonna see what happens. Now, okay, I didn't like that. No, sir, not one bit. So we are going to try something else. I have burnt moss in here somewhere, and that might be exactly what I need. There we go. We got some burnt moss. Let's see what this does. Maybe a little better. All right, now I'm going to play around with it and see what happens. Now here we go, last step. We're going to take our sponge, because this is looking way too clean. We're going to take our sponge with some black and just mat it all around there. There, that looks sufficiently beat to hell. So the next step is the fun part. We're going to go out to the garage. We're going to see what all this stuff looks like on the table. All right, guys, this is what it looks like on the table. I think it came out pretty darn good looking. We got our little outpost in the middle of the jungle. You know, if you guys are looking for something pretty cool and pretty cheap as far as, you know, most normal war games terrain goes, this stuff here, you can't go wrong with it. Now, I'm not sponsored by TT Combat, but, you know, I just like showing you guys good deals whenever I can. So if you're looking for tabletop terrain on the cheap, there you go. So that'll do it for me out here in the garage. Now, mostly I was down in the basement. So remember to like and subscribe. And thanks for coming out. And I hope you guys are having fun playing OPR wherever you are. And I'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.